Good evening, brethren. Tonight's subject is about the two beasts, false messiahs of Revelation 13. The Jews believe in two messiahs, and what we see in Revelation 13 is exactly that two messiahs. They believe in Ben Joseph, the forerunner to Ben David. Ben Joseph comes first, and then the false Messiah. So the book of Revelation is the revelation of Jesus Christ, and I believe I do have a revelation on Revelation 13, and I would like to share this with you. The video clip is animated video clip, so please do watch it. Most watchmen believe in a singular false Messiah or Antichrist, and that is not the case. Some believe the Pope is the false prophet. The Pope is not the false prophet. Both the two beasts is political figures and military figures. So sit back and watch this video clip, the animated video clip, and you will note that the two beasts is singular persons. Okay? So watch the video clip. Here it comes.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying,
Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things, and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds, and tongues, and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth, and them which dwell therein, to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had a wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and caused that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he had that mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
The two beast false messiahs of Revelation 13. The Jews believe in two messiahs, and the Revelation 13 speaks about the two beasts. These are the two false messiahs. They believe in two messiahs that is coming, Ben Joseph, and Ben David. Ben Joseph comes before Ben David. He will have a resurrection, and he will have a wound towards the second half of the tribulation. Now, I have about 17 points describing to you who these two are. Many say that it's only speculation. We cannot know who they are. But that's not what the Word of God says. The Revelation 1 verse 1 says, the revelation of Jesus Christ from the Father unto his Son Jesus, making known unto his servants what must come to pass. That is what Revelation 1 verse 1 says. Well, the Bible also says they cannot be revealed. They cannot be revealed until they fall away, until the rapture takes place. But it does not say we cannot know who they are. So I have 17 points. Sit back, and I'm going to give you 17 points to who these two are. Number one, both are depicted by the same symbol, a horn, Daniel 7, 8, 28 and 9. Both are persecuting powers, Daniel 7, 21, 8, 10 and 24. Both are self-exalting and blasphemous. That is Daniel 7, 20, and also Revelation, I forgot to add that one too, as well as Revelation 13. Both target God's people, Daniel 7:27. Both extend until the time of the end, Daniel 7:25. Both will supernaturally be destroyed. But Daniel 7:20, also Revelation 19 and 20 says that. Both will be military experts. Both are false messiahs. Both of them, the Jews believe both of them will be military experts. So this is what the Jews believe. Both are false messiahs or antichrists. I don't like the word antichrist for the sake there are many antichrists, but I'd rather call it them false messiahs. Both of them rises out of a Christian nation that were founded on Christian principles, and that would be America. After the destruction of America, the second beast rises out of the EU, the New World Order. And that you can see in a description. Here we have a picture of Obama having the book, The Post-American World. Even the elite, I'm telling you, even the elite knows when the time of when Christ will be coming, except they do not know the day and the hour. They very well know about the 120 Jubilees, when the time will end. And they caught Obama with this book, reading it, The Post-American World. So there you have it, people. So after the destruction of America, the second beast, this is the second beast, it's called the false prophet in the Bible. But for the Jews, they're calling him Ben Joseph. After the destruction of America, the second beast, Ben Joseph, rises out of the EU, the New World Order. The second beast ruled then for the first 3.5 years as spokesman for the beast, the first beast, which you call the Antichrist or the false Messiah. Now, the second beast rises to power in the European Union, the New World Order, as the little horn of the fourth beast of Daniel, Daniel 7 verse 8. And if you watch the video clip, the imitation video clip, you will notice that the fourth beast is missing. There is the mouth of a lion, the leopard, and the leopard speaks of the Grecian Empire, and the bear speaks of the Medo-Persian Empire. The fourth beast is missing, but there is a third. There's also a horn coming out of the third empire. Now the second beast rises out to power in the EU, the New World Order. And if you do watch my video, Donald Trump announced as the world leader. This was a dream that the Minister Paul had in 2012. And Minister Paul is very most of the time very accurate concerning his dreams. Now, as the little horn of the fourth beast of Daniel, I repeat it again, Daniel 7 verse 8, the second beast caused the abomination of Daniel. This is called the false prophet. The Pope is not the false prophet. This beast is the false prophet. The second beast, he is the one that caused the abomination. And when the first beast is announced, or his statue for that matter, then the Jews find out that they have been deceived, and they flee to the desert, and this is what is called the abomination. Now, 14, the second beast caused all rich, poor to receive the mark of the beast. Yes, we all thinking of singular, the Antichrist, but there are two of them. There are literally two of them. And you can argue with me concerning this. This is what the word says. It's in the word. And the Jews do also believe in two messiahs. But if you read the second half, I am going to restudy. We're going to go over the Revelation 13, and I'm going to point it out to you. You will see it. The second beast caused all rich and poor to receive the mark of the beast. The second beast is in control of all the money of the world. And right now he is controlling the finances of America. The dollar is at its highest. The second beast, the false prophet, he is a political figure, and he does control the money. He is the policeman of the world. The first beast rises. This is the first beast. The first beast rises to power as the little horn of the third beast of Daniel. Remember the Grecian Empire, Alexander the Great, and his 4 generals, and out of one of them arise another little horn. And that horn, many say that was Antiochus Epiphanes, but it was not, he may have played a role, but he did not conquer. He did not conquer that much land. And the first beast is 69 times removed from Antiochus Epiphanes. Then there's Daniel 8 verse 9. And it says, out of one of them came the fourth a little horn, which waxes exceedingly great towards the south. Towards the south. That is probably Egypt, Sudan that he conquers, and Libya towards the south, and towards the east. He conquers all that land towards the east. And then also towards the pleasant land. Who is the pleasant land? And that is Israel. The first beast towards the first half of this and the abomination will conquer the pleasant land, and he will rule and reign for 3.5 years from Jerusalem until, and that is when his turn comes first. The first 3.5 years is when the second beast or Ben Joseph is ruling. He has much favor with Israel, but finally he will cause the abomination in the 3.5, the first, towards the middle of the tribulation. Just let us review Revelation 13 again, and it says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw the beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head, that's the name of blasphemy. Now what is the rising out of the sea? That speaks of the nation, the 7 heads and 10 horns, and that would be Revelation 17:11. The 7 heads, that is not from Europe. Not from Europe at all. The 7, it's the 7 continents of the 5, and the 5 oceans. The 7 continents here: the North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, and Antarctica. And then what he does, he divides the 7 continents into 10. And yeah, there's 10 American. Here you get the North American American Union. That of course is Mexico, Canada, and America in itself. So you can see the wall is not going to be built. It's just a trick that Donald Trump is playing with you people. It's just a trick. The wall is not going to be built because this world nation here is the North American Union, NAFTA, is an antichrist nation under his rule. So then you get, yes, all the, what's his name? The Central American Union, the South American Union, the European Union, and the African Union, and then you have the Middle East Union, the Russian Union, the South Asian Union, the East Asian Union, and then the Pacific Union. So, yeah, I always say, yeah, concerning Africa, that the Bible says in Revelation 17:11, 10 kings found power within 1 hour with the beast. That's of course with the first beast, the Antichrist. So now, in 1 hour, that is just after the rapture. By 2020, the RFI, the chip, will be mandatory. It will be compulsory by the December 2020. Yeah. So I always wonder who those 10, maybe you can help me with who the possible 10 leaders can be. I say here it is Julius Malema for Africa. This man truly hates the whites. Yeah, and I always say possibly Hillary may lead America, although America in itself will be the most devastated country. It will be destroyed on the east coast and the west coast. Russia will bomb her and America will burn, but there will be people remaining in America. But I heard a word even saying that the Americans will recover quicker than any other, all the other nations in the world. That was a word from the Lord to a lady. Yeah. So, but the American army will be destroyed, and most of the American army is already in the UN. That is, of course, the European Union. This part will, of course, be the New World Order. Okay. So that is, and all the plans will be ready by 2020. Yeah, so that is what it means, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and of course Satan will be cast down from heaven, Revelation 12, and of course that will be his crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Revelation 2, and the beast which I saw was likened unto a leopard. Now who was the leopard? The leopard was Alexander the Great, and his feet were the feet of a bear. That is the Median Persian Empire, and his mouth as a lion, the Babylon Empire. And the dragon gave him much power and his seat and a great authority. We all know where Pergamum, that is where his seat was, but that seat now is in Europe. Okay, yeah, so let's just go through that. Revelation 13:2, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were the feet of a bear, and the mouth as of a lion. The beast received his power and his seat with great authority from the dragon. Thus Satan's delegation of all his authority to the man who will exercise it upon the earth or upon his house. The prophet Daniel, approximately 550 BC, contributed his prophetic knowledge to this event, even outlining the symbolic meaning of the leopard, the bear, and the lion when he saw them in a vision of the beast on the sea. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea, and 4 great beasts came out of the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like unto a lion, and eagle's wings, that's probably America, and beheld till the lion could be said of today's nation, even could be Britain, and split from Britain. Beheld till his wings therefore were plucked off, and it was lifted. You see, prophecy always have a double meaning. And it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon his feet. So here we can find the beast is a man. It's a man. It is not the papacy, please, or the apostate church. And the man's heart was given to it. Here Daniel sees 4 great beasts. Of course, it was Babylon, Medo-Persian, Greece, and the Roman Empire. Of the first beast, Daniel said was like a lion and had eagle's wings. We concluded John's mouth of the lion indicated the power of Satan taking on human form. You always hear about the roaring lion, and we know the authority of the lion. Although the beast blasphemous against God, we know it is a man, because Daniel says it's made to stand up. The lion, therefore, is the power of Satan's incarnate. Speaking here, what then is the meaning of his feet were as the feet of a bear. And behold, another beast, a second beast like a bear, it raises up itself on one side, and had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, and the teeth of it, and they said thus unto it, arise, devour man's flesh. So Daniel's words indicate that this beast, like a bear, will kill many, many, many people, believers using the laws, the teeth of his satanic kingdom, and the bear symbolizes anyone who will not obey his worldwide rule, for he will kill and persecute them. Now I also think of Elijah's incident where the youth mocked him, and 44 people were killed by the claws of the bear. So that was then. Now what does a leopard symbolize? After this I beheld, lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of its wings of fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. The leopard symbolizes dominion, authority of the world. This first beast, when it comes to power, the second beast will be in charge. The first beast will conquer land, and this is what he did, exactly what Alexander the Great did, but he will do it also with a speed, like the speed and greater power than what Alexander the Great did it. Okay, so Revelation 13:3 says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. As I stated, the first beast, which is, as I say, would be Obama, he will conquer much land, and he will be wounded during that process. During that process, he will be wounded. Now, this is a picture of the passion of Christ, with Christ only having one eye. And I wondered about that. What does that mean? The movies, the media, Hollywood, always have something behind it, and does depict that actually the false Messiah, the Antichrist, wound is, and that also appears, by the way, on the dollar bill. Another proof that the Antichrist, or the false Messiah, the first beast, comes out of a Christian country, and that Christian country is America. It's also proof that it's also on the dollar bill. Here we can see the dollar bill, and it fits this very, very man. He is the first beast. Identify him as the first beast, and I have further proof of it. The Bible is very clear. It stipulates exactly who they are, and his name is called Barak. It's lightning, Bama, falling from the heights, which means Bama. So he has been identified as the Christ. He is also the little horn of the third empire of Daniel, the Grecian Empire. Out of the 4 generals, and out of those 4 horns came another little horn, and he is that little horn, and he will conquer land, and he will receive a wound. And as the word states, the deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast, and they worshipped the dragon, which gave power. You saw that in the video clip, unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And this is the confusion with many, where people say, no, the Antichrist only get power the last 3.5 year, 300 years. Yes, you are partly correct, but there are two Messiahs, people. The one rule as a spokesman for the first beast, he gets greater power towards the last 3.5 years, and he and the and power was given unto him to continue 42 months, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. I'm going to give you that. We just play for you another video clip, and then we'll continue.
Here's what I can guarantee. I'll be back. The next time I'm back, I may not be wearing a suit. First of all, giving honor to God and our Lord and Savior, Barack Obama.
And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven.
Be still and know that I am God, that I am God, that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth.
And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. All that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
Tonight, for the first time, I am releasing my official birth video. Let's take a look. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth.
And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. All that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
You will never see it coming. That I would bring about the biblical end of days.
Revelation 13:11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. You see, exercise all the power. They have the same power and the same authority. The second beast is the spokesman for the first beast in the first half of the tribulation. And here you can see that the first and second beast together, they all have the same authority. They're coming out of a Christian nation. So what is this horns like a lamb? It's almost lamb-like. It's almost Christian-like. Christian-like. And it's amazing if you look at the two horns of this lamb can indicate the Republicans, the red, and the Democrats, the blue. This color is also standing for the two colors in the Freemasons. Yeah. And he says, I got them between the hand. The second beast is the greatest deceiver of all. So be careful for the second beast. He is going to deceive the world with the mark of the beast. He is going to deceive the believers of Christ. He pretends to be a Christian. It says his horns like a lamb. it speaks of, the lamb always speaks of Christ. It always speaks of Christ. And he's going to act like a lamb and exercise all the authority of the first beast on its behalf. On its behalf. On its behalf. That will be in the first half of the tribulation. And here you see it again, the lamb-like characteristics. It has Christ-like characteristics and fits Ben Joseph. The Jews call the second beast Ben Joseph, and they say Ben Joseph comes before Ben David. And the Jews also believe in a 7-year period. The 7-year Jacob's trouble is for the Jews. I just want to repeat something here that I said earlier from verse 1, chapter 13, to verse 10. It's all about the first beast. The first beast. From verse 11 onwards to 18, it is all about the second beast. Now you all put the mark of the beast to the there's one Antichrist. You only look at one singular Antichrist. Most of the watchmen just see one singular false Messiah, but that's actually true. Now I want you to take you to verse 16, but before I go there, I want to emphasize what Daniel 7 verse 8 and 20 says. Verse 20. He says both of these men of perdition, these little horns, both are self-exalting and say great things. I want you to take a video about the second beast, of the great things that he speaks, and also about...
Nobody can do it like me, honestly.
Nobody's stronger than me.
Nobody has better toys than I do.
There's nobody bigger or better at the military than I am.
Nobody loves the Bible more than I do.
Nobody builds walls better than me. Nobody's better to people with disabilities than me. Nobody's fighting for the veterans like I'm fighting for the veterans.
There's nobody that's done so much for equality as I have.
There's nobody more pro-Israel than I am. There's nobody more conservative than me.
There is nobody that respects women more than I do. Nobody would be tougher on ISIS than Donald Trump.
There's nobody's ever had crowds like Trump has had.
There's nobody that understands the horror of nuclear better than me. And nobody even understands it but me. It's called devaluation. The sale of the uranium that nobody knows what it means. I know what it means.
Nobody knows more about trade than me.
Nobody knows the game better than I do.
Nobody in the history of this country has ever known so much about infrastructure as Donald Trump. I know the H-1B. I know the H-2B. Nobody knows it better than me.
Nobody knows politicians better than I do.
Nobody knows more about taxes than I do.
Nobody knows more about debt than I do.
Nobody knows the system better than me, which is why I alone can fix it. Number 8, we will finally complete the biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. For years, Congress has required biometric entry-exit visa tracking systems. In my administration, we will ensure that this system is in place. And I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, it will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
We will have a proper tracking system, and it causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in the forehead. You're looking at the man, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Now here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 636. Here is the last verse. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, and his number is 636. What possibly could this building have to do with Revelation 6 verse 18, the number of man? In fact, it is Donald Trump's building being transferred over to his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. He stayed on the 660th floor, by the way, and on the roof of that building where he stays is the sun god Apollyon. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number, for the number of man is 636. Where else can we find that number? In 1 Kings verse 10, 2 Chronicles. And Jesus made mention of that. The queen of the south shall rise up in the judgment with this generation, our generation, and shall condemn it, for she came from the uttermost parts of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and behold, greater than Solomon is here. Now the weight of the gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 636 talents of gold. 666 talents. It comes out to $8 billion just in 1 month. That is a staggering amount. Matthew 6, 28, 29. Matthew 12, 42, verse 42. What does the words of Jesus have to do with the mark of the beast, with the buying and the selling? Let's see. What does that have to do? Let's first read verse 29. It says here, okay, let's read verse 12. Matthew 12, 42. The queen of the south shall rise up in judgment with this generation. I read it before. And shall condemn it. For she came from the uttermost parts of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon. And behold, a greater than Solomon is here. Let's see the other verse. Matthew 6 verse 28. And why take ye thought of raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you, that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Where is Solomon today? Where is Solomon today? Having said that, what does Solomon and Donald Trump have in common? Here we can see, this is the sign that appears upon the flag of Israel, and there it is again. This is an occultic sign. What does Donald Trump and King Solomon have in common? They're both sitting on a king's chair. I'll leave that thought for you. On the other hand, I'll tell you what my thinking is. Could it be that the same spirit that possessed King Solomon, will the same spirit possess Donald Trump? And who could that spirit be? I think it's no other than Apollyon itself. That is my version on it. God bless you. Please do subscribe and press the notification button. God bless.